Well, what's going on, everyone? Just woke up. It's 3 a.m. I usually always wake up around this time. For some reason, well, I know the reason, but I kind of wanted to chit chat a little bit about some stuff that I hadn't really talked about in a while. It just came to my mind. I've made videos about it, so I've talked about it, but it's been a really long time because they've changed up their tactics at this point. But I remember it was in 2006. I was working at Walmart, at this new Walmart that had just opened up in this little college town. And I just moved there because I was trying to prolong my career and my college career, and finish up my bachelor's. And I don't know if anybody's really familiar with Walmart, but they used to have well, they may still have this, but I don't know. They used to have people come in, like, that works from different third party companies, like Cox Communication, and try to sell cable and just little things like that. They set up a table and they would try to have their people sell cable and internet and things like that to customers inside the store. Well, at this point, I was working in electronics, and we had got the store set up and everything, and we had this guy come in who worked for AT&T, supposedly. He had on a little AT&T shirt, and he was, and they still do this. They come in and they're working for a third party, so they're working for AT&T or whatever company, Verizon or whatever, and they would sell their phone company or their phone network to different customers. Well, so there was this guy, white guy, who came in, and I already knew that he was additional. He claimed to work for that, but he was also something else. And he was always staring at me and watching me and looking at me and watching me work, and just real weird. Sorry, guys. But he was real weird. And so one day he decided, he was just gonna have this conversation with me, and he was like, "Do you believe in God? And what is your religion?" So we having this conversation about religion and God. And at this time, I was still into religion, and I was actually indoctrinated into this different religion. And so he was asking me questions about it, and he was like, "So, do you think if you were put under torturous conditions that you would and forced and told that there was no God, and you were being stripped away from your religion and your beliefs, that you would maintain your belief under torturous circumstances if you're being tortured?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, a belief is a belief. I mean, it's not an accessory. If you have a belief, then it's instilled in you, and um, though it may be tested, you may have your doubts, but yeah, ultimately you're gonna have your belief. And he basically said, "Okay, we'll see." Even in that conversation, that was pretty much the way he delivered it. And he didn't come back in the store after that. Like, he didn't come back with AT&T. A different guy came in. And so ever since then, um, after that particular moment, I always had these military guys working with me, the ones that would come in and they would work in a managerial position or whatever, and they would go out, they would leave out and deploy. And when I was working at Walmart, I had uh, I worked with someone consistently who did that. He was in the military, and he was in and out um, of the electronics area because he was being deployed out. And these were the ones who were always watching me in the beginning. They were always the ones, following me around and watching me while I was at work. This is when my targeting first started. And even before I knew I was being gang stalked, I knew that there was a word for it and things like that. And like I said, that didn't really stop where I was being followed and monitored quite frequently by military. That went on for a long time. Like, I couldn't go anywhere, a job, any location where I wasn't being like followed or in the vicinity or in the company of military. And I say this because I want people to understand just how deep this situation goes and what we're dealing with here. For those of you who ever watched the movie X-Men, it's really just like that. You have these military people, you have these doctors, these nurses, um, politicians. You have all these people who are involved in this corruption. And that's one of the reasons why these things that are happening to you get covered up. Like, I made a video where I was showing you the torture, the scars of me being tortured with radiation. This attack, for me, I know it's experimental in nature. I know that it's varied. There's an array of things that are being done to me based off of certain genetic and biological things that these people are privy to. On the surface and on the outside, to outside people, to even to you all, you don't understand really the real reason why people are doing what they're doing to me. You don't even really understand why they're doing these things to you. Because people have been taught to be so carnal about their lifestyle. Everything's so cardinal. Everything is so um, traditionally, spiritually based. But no one thinks to think outside of the box of that. There's a movie called, I forget the name of the movie, but it's about this black woman named Henrietta Lacks. I really encourage, especially the indigenous women who are truly being targeted, to look at that movie. It's called, I don't know, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was the one that Oprah Winfrey did. And it was about a woman named Henrietta Lacks, a true story. This woman had special DNA, and her cells were extracted, and they're still being used to this day. To this day, there was an actual medical method to cure cancer and other diseases that came from her actual cells. And they I can't remember how they found out, discovered that she had this ability, but her cells replicated and renewed too quick for any disease. So she was immune to diseases, to cancer, to AIDS, to any disease in this realm. And so they extracted her cells, and they use it to this day. This white scientist did it, and he named the method after her. But they took her children. The military took her children, one of her daughters mainly, because one of her daughters worked with Oprah Winfrey to create the movie. But the other daughter, they took her and they deemed her mentally ill so they could experiment on her. So they deemed her mentally ill, put her in this mental infirmary, and took her apart. Took her apart. They took out her eyes. They took out her, just all different kinds of body parts to experiment on and to use in the FDA, to use in our medical practices to heal certain diseases. But they were trying to see if this this cellular biological I guess wonder that Henrietta had, if it ran through her family, if it was passed on, and it was. But one of the things that they noticed about her from the external is that she never aged. She was, chronologically, she was older, but she never looked like she was her age. She always looked extraordinarily young. Watch the movie and then look into like documents about her real life. And there's a lot of these indigenous women, aka black women in America, who had this. And this is one of the reasons why they are being targeted. I know for me, I have and I carry the mitochondria. Nobody understands that, and nobody knows what that is. But when you, and I don't have time to really get into that, but I've talked about all these things in my other videos, but again, some of those things were shadow banned and it's been a while. But I want people to understand that there's method to this madness. These things that these people cannot live or function without us. But they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to announce that. These things, these medical wonders and these drugs and these things that these people are coming up with, and all these things that they're using in this very realm, come from indigenous women. Anyway, I may talk about it a little bit more another time, but I don't want to make this video exponentially long. I just woke up and thought this was on my mind. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.